my live stream just kept it just kept coming up with a stupid error. Well, this Streamlabs app is really glitchy. It's just not behaving itself. So right, so I was just going to do a little short video about now. Right, there's a problem, right? So I'm using XP as my host machine, right? So I'm using XP as the host machine. Now, one of the big problems with using XP is its lack of security these days, because you can't get antivirus programs to run on it anymore because nobody supports it. And so you occasionally get a problem. Now, I don't use XP for browsing the internet anymore because it's not safe and you can get infected with viruses and things. So what I'm using is Ubuntu to browse the internet and watch YouTube videos, because it's a lot safer to use Linux, which is what Ubuntu is. So what we're doing is watching anything that looks like it could be risky to watch YouTube videos. So what I'm going to show you, oh come on stupid thing, I'm trying to zoom in. Alright, zoom in. Right, so this is, I'm looking at the host on my task manager. This is, well, system information. So I was just going to show you something. So let me put my charger in so I don't run my battery down. So there's the process. I'm using the 6 cores, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cores to run 2 machines right now. And the reason for that is you can't run an antivirus program on Ubuntu because Ubuntu doesn't support. So this is my Ubuntu, right? So I'm watching Shangu 066 on Ubuntu.
Don't even have that goodbye date on them.
Right, so I'll pause that. So I'm watching Ubuntu, right? So I'm watching YouTube. But I've got this external hard drive that I need to scan for viruses, right? Now, this external hard drive has been sitting in a drawer for like, what, 5 years or 4 years or something, I don't know. Maybe 3 years, I don't know. But since I backed up data on it. Now, the problem with that is, because I can't get an antivirus program that's suitable to run on Ubuntu, I needed to run it on a more up-to-date operating system. So I've actually got Windows 7 running on here, on the other virtual machine, which is chugging away. So this is Windows 7 on the other virtual machine, and it's running antivirus software, which is being mapped to a shared folder, which is the external hard drive, which is right over there. So I'm scanning that hard drive there with Windows 7. Right, so just wanted to explain what you can do. So Windows 7 is using about 2 gigabytes of memory right now, but I didn't want to task it. I didn't want to watch my YouTube videos on here because I really don't like. I just don't like Windows 7. It's hard for me to use. It's alright for running antivirus programs on and stuff, because I can use that and map the drive to. It's actually mapped through the virtual machine to the external drive. So this is busy scanning the external hard drive, and that's all this Windows 7 is doing right now. It's not doing anything else, right? Just minimize that. But all the other operating systems like Halo, which is another one, that's not running. I've got another XP professional version which is not running. That's in the pause state. But I've got Ubuntu, which is what I'm watching YouTube on. So I just thought I'd explain it. So Ubuntu's got an advantage that it doesn't use a lot of memory, it doesn't use a lot of resources, and it's pretty lightweight, so it's great for watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I thought I'd make a video, just a stream, just to explain the advantage of that. Now obviously with Ubuntu, you can't install Windows programs unless you use them in Wine. You can actually use Wine, which is in here somewhere. I think it's in System, but I still trying to figure out Ubuntu and Zorin. I'm still trying to figure out some of the stuff that goes on in there. So I just figured it'd be a lot simpler, a lot less hassle just to run the Windows 7 system, to run the antivirus software, and because I can get the latest, well, not the latest, but later, I can get versions of antivirus software to run on Windows 7, which will not work on XP, right? But they also won't work. Well, they probably won't work on Ubuntu, but it's a lot complicated. It's very complicated to try and run it on Ubuntu, so I figured, oh, let's just run it on Windows 7, scan the external hard drive, make sure there's no viruses on it, clean it, whatever, do that, and then I can just carry on watching my YouTube videos while all that's going on. So I just thought I'd explain it, because I know Ken was asking about it. The only problem with that is the fact that you need multiple cores of CPU, and you also need at least 8 GB of memory. So on the x64 version of Windows, which is what I'm in at the moment, I can access the full memory. So if I minimize the virtual machine, which is now minimized, I bring up the host, which is what everything's running on, you can see that down here we are down in the, where it says physical memory, I am using nearly all of the 8 GB of memory. So if I just zoom in a minute, so the total physical memory is about 8.369 GB, and the available memory left over is about 1.833 GB. So both those operating systems are using most of the memory right now. So I've got some page memory as well. So I just thought I'd explain that. So yeah, if you've only got a laptop with one CPU core, you're going to have big problems. Yeah, the free physical memory is down here. It says I'm using 6.2 GB of memory to run those 2 virtual machines. So I've only got a bit of free memory at the top, but that's okay for running 2 virtual machines. I would have absolutely no chance really of running 3 virtual machines unless all 3 of them were Ubuntu, which is kind of pointless really. There's not much point in running 3 versions of Ubuntu, is there? Unless you've got independent tasks you want to run on each one, like update 1, and but then you'd need to maintain 3 instead of just 1, which is a bit of a pain. So yeah, the only trouble with doing this is the fact that my flipping CPU gets pretty hot. So at the moment, my CPU temperature is about 63 degrees Celsius, but I've got the fans running, so yeah, it's getting pretty warm, a bit toasty in there. Well, anyway, so I just thought I'd explain it because Ken was interested in doing it and he wanted some more information on it, so I thought I'd do this YouTube video just to explain it a bit more detail. So anyway, I'm just gonna let this Windows scan that external hard drive, and that's probably going to take hours and hours and hours to do. It's found 2 objects anyway, so yeah, it's always a good idea to check your external backup drives periodically to make sure you haven't got any viruses, because some of them are called time bomb viruses, where they basically don't activate until a certain date. So date sensitive viruses are a real pain. because you can actually have them, and antivirus software might not even be able to detect them till a certain point when they're actually activated, and then it's usually too late. Or malware is really, really bad, because that's what damages your computer. Malware is more damaging than just a virus. A virus sometimes is just playing tricks on you, like flashing things on the screen, but malware is much more destructive because it can physically corrupt your file system and do really bad things. So yeah, anyway, I'm using Asset at the moment. It's pretty good. I was a bit disappointed because I used to be a big fan of MCSoft, but it seems to me these days that MCSoft has become a bit of a not a friendly antivirus program, because they no longer support Windows 7, and I thought that's disgusting, because Windows 7 is still actively used by a lot of people. But they keep coming up with these silly excuses like, oh, Windows 7 is no longer supported, so therefore why should we? Sort of attitude. And my perspective on this is, you should, if anything, you should support an outdated or a bordering on a borderline old operating system that's about to be discontinued. You should support those operating systems, because those people are more prone to viruses anyway. And if you don't support them, then you're actually opening the cat out of the bag. You're actually encouraging people to get infected with viruses, and that to me is just distasteful. And so I'm no longer a fan of MCSoft. There are a lot of antivirus programs out there who have a bit better etiquette, little bit more friendly towards end users. So Asset is one of them, but the ones I like the most is the, I can't even think of the name right now. It's an online scanner. It's the, can't think of it right now. But it had a long time support for Windows XP, even when XP was out of date by about 5 or 6 years. But I can't think of the name right now. My mind's gone blank. But it was desktop scan anyway. So actually, I think Ken mentioned it a bit ago. Let's see if I can find it. He's just been talking about a lot of health stuff, so I can't seem to. It's just clouding up the chat with a lot of other stuff, so I can't seem to find it now. Yeah, that's it. Trend Micro House Call. So yeah, Trend Micro House Call has been a great friend to me. It's been a really good program for scanning your computer, even when it's no longer supported. It's really, it's an online app. It's an online free scanner that you can just run when you need it to scan for viruses. And let's face it, if you can minimise the amount of viruses that have been spread around, even if it's an obsolete operating system, then that's all good, isn't it? It's what we want. I mean, you've got to keep on top of these things, and it's just sad that some antivirus companies just say, oh, they just turn their back on you, basically, just because your operating system might be 2 or 3 years no longer supported by Microsoft. They just seem to turn their backs on you, and they give up some excuses like, oh, the what do you call it? The can't think of what it's called now. Anyway, because certain parts of the operating system are compromisable, they say they don't support it anymore. Well, that's all the more reason why they should support it. You know what I mean? It's just silly, really. I just don't get it. Anyway, I'm going to go back to watching Shango on Ubuntu right now. We'll see you later, alligator.
Energizer here. Take your damn batteries out of your radio. 917.